Here's your wrestling news for September 9th, 2021. And your headlines for today include: AEW isn't beating around the bush with Bryan Danielson. Is Kenny Omega the right opponent? Malakai Black's path of destruction to come full circle on AEW Dynamite. AEW wrestler says Vince McMahon thinks AEW is garbage. CM Punk's first traditional feud in AEW begins. Adam Cole's first AEW match announced for Dynamite next week. Identity of Andrade Idolo's manager revealed. Kevin Owens' current WWE contract, major heat on staff for falling asleep at the wheel on WWE contracts. Triple H undergoes heart surgery after cardiac event. WWE issues update. WWE Raw superstar shares touching story about Triple H following cardiac event. WWE made creative changes to Raw this week, and more. We are starting today with AEW, which saw Bryan Danielson make his Dynamite debut last night. In stark contrast to other former WWE superstars, there was no burying of WWE, and Bryan's past working for Vince McMahon wasn't mentioned at all, nor was there a cheesy promo about how happy he is to be in AEW. Instead, Bryan appeared on Dynamite by interrupting the Elite, who were introducing Adam Cole, and the former NXT champion had an impressive promo himself before being interrupted. We are a bit surprised that AEW are setting up Bryan vs. Omega so early, especially as the company usually likes to take its time with these sort of things, but when Danielson teased facing the cleaner, the crowd went wild. A dream match of the highest order, it seems fans won't be waiting long for this match, but that doesn't mean that Danielson will immediately dethrone Omega as world champion. As for his character, Danielson isn't the lovable underdog of WWE, but a world-class talent, one who was able to lock in the label lock on Kenny Omega. The Elite quickly swarmed him, but it was Jurassic Express, Christian Cage, and Frankie Kazarian who evened the odds, setting up a 10-man tag team match we expect to see soon. It's a refreshing change, and we can only imagine that Danielson is a big fan of that idea himself, as he's already found himself near the top of AEW's totem pole. Dynamite also saw another appearance by Malakai Black, who's been on a rampage through the Nightmare family since his debut for the company. Cody Rhodes hasn't been seen since his loss to Black, who's also defeated Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson, and continued his undefeated streak this week with a win over Dustin Rhodes. This will all come full circle in 2 weeks when Black faces Cody Rhodes at the Grand Slam Dynamite, and we'll have to see if the former NXT champion can keep up his winning ways when he takes on a vengeful Cody. It's safe to say that in the 2 years AEW has been around, they've earned a legion of loyal fans, many of whom have stopped watching WWE altogether. While AEW has gone from strength to strength, WWE has struggled to please its fans, and one person who knows all about both companies is Jon Moxley. Speaking to Cincy 360 with Tony Pike, Moxley discussed how he believes Vince McMahon would view AEW, saying, "Vince McMahon would watch a lot of AEW matches and say, 'Oh, that's just garbage, they're not selling, slow it down, this crap. Blood and guts.' But he wouldn't be paying attention to the 15,000 people going nuts and out of their mind. So I feel a little vindicated because I said a lot about what wrestling should be, and that's what AEW was going to do. And that's what we did." Moxley went on to say that AEW's success is his "I told you so" moment, but it's unknown if the WWE chairman has watched a second of AEW programming. Historically, McMahon only watches the pro wrestling that his company produces, but even if he didn't watch All Out, we're sure the WWE CEO has heard all about last Sunday's huge debuts. One person calling AEW home now is CM Punk, who hasn't had a true feud yet in AEW. Despite facing Darby Allin at All Out, that felt more like a one-off match between two top babyfaces that was meant to get Punk even more over, a plan that definitely worked. CM Punk came out to a huge pop on Dynamite, and he didn't even let the AEW crowd in Cincinnati chant his name. He got right to it and thanked Darby Allin and Sting. The crowd hijacked him with "You still got it" chants. Punk asked the crowd if they'd watched AEW All Out. He mentioned the names of the debuts, Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson, before being interrupted by Taz on commentary. The Human Suplex Machine warned him not to call out any members of Team Taz, so the former WWE champion naturally did the exact opposite. CM Punk laid out an incredible challenge to all 4 members of Team Taz. It's unlikely that he'll face Taz anytime soon on AEW programming, but it's good to see Punk have a proper heel versus face feud in the works. It seems that Punk versus Ricky Starks will be the next match for the best in the world in what'll surely be another high-profile match for AEW. This week's Dynamite also marked the TV debut of Adam Cole, and we won't be waiting long to see the former NXT champion compete. On next week's show, Cole will take on the Elite Hunter Frankie Kazarian after the former superstar took a kick to the head by Kaz during last night's brawl. This will mark Cole's first match in AEW, and time will tell how he fares now that he's all elite. From one former WWE superstar to another next, as Andrade El Idolo is no stranger to having managers, having worked with Zelina Vega for years in WWE. Now a part of AEW, Andrade has had a manager with him as of late, which Lucha Blog has now revealed is Jose Garcia. Having wrestled in California and Mexico, Garcia's initial career was built around working as a WWE local talent, but he's clearly got a much bigger role in AEW. As for Andrade, he continues to be featured on AEW programming, even if his match with Pac has been postponed. And until that match happens, fans will see plenty of El Idolo, who will continue to be flanked by Garcia. Over to WWE, and earlier this week it was reported that Kevin Owens' contract is over far sooner than anyone previously expected. In 2018, Owens said he was on a 5-year deal that would keep him around until 2023, but after the company restructured their contracts, KO's deal actually ends in January 2022. We now know exactly when his deal will expire, as Pat Laparde reports that the former Universal Champion will be a free agent on January 31st if he doesn't sign a new deal. It was also reported that WWE restructured contracts after securing an influx of money from the Fox and USA Network deals, and that they renegotiated several deals in 2019. Fightful Select reports that WWE aren't surprised to hear that Owens' deal is ending sooner than expected, as they note, "We know that WWE was aware of Owens' deal, as we learned the news from a WWE employee earlier this summer. That was not a case similar to Adam Cole or Pete Dunne, but the deal does end significantly sooner than previously publicly known." Their report adds that in the 2019 restructure, contracts were given higher downside guarantees, meaning Owens was making more, but his deal ran out sooner. It'll ultimately be Owens' decision as to what happens next in his career, as he's previously said that he has no plans to wrestle outside of WWE anymore, but with the success of AEW and so many of his friends in the company, the prizefighter could easily change his mind. If Owens does leave WWE, he'll be just the latest big name to depart, following the likes of Cole, Bryan Danielson, Malakai Black, and Andrade El Idolo. WWE has lost a ton of talent to the competition in the past year alone, and despite less people backstage, there's no fewer problems behind the scenes. Fightful Select reports that after All Out, there was significant heat in relation to people, quote, falling asleep at the wheel, especially when it comes to planning NXT contracts. WWE has struggled in particularly with NXT deals, not realizing how close Adam Cole's contract was to ending, and releasing Malakai Black earlier this year without realizing that he had a 30-day non-compete clause from NXT rather than the standard main roster 90-day clause. The report noted that this problem wasn't as big on the main roster, as several superstars have talked directly with Vince McMahon about their contracts. We'll have to see what steps WWE takes to avoid these sort of contract issues in the future, but we're sure they'll be keeping a closer look at everyone's contracts from now on. Owens hasn't shied away from the fact that his contract is over soon and has teased a move to AEW. In a since-deleted tweet, Owens gave the coordinates for Mount Rushmore, the name of the stable he was in with AEW's Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and changed his location on Twitter to "Almost There." Now, the Bucks have responded on their own account, as they've changed their Twitter location to "There," implying that Owens is looking to move very soon. Unlike the Adam Cole situation, WWE is well aware of when Owens' contract is up and will no doubt be working to make sure he stays, but the former AEW World Tag Team Champions have made it clear that they want the prizefighter out of WWE. We've got some concerning news regarding Triple H next, as the former WWE World Champion has had a cardiac event. According to a statement from WWE, the game's health scare was caused by a genetic heart issue. As they reported, Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, underwent a successful procedure last week at Yale New Haven Hospital following a cardiac event. The episode was caused by a genetic heart issue, and Paul is expected to make a full recovery. According to the National Health System, inherited cardiac conditions is an umbrella term for a wide variety of diseases of the heart, and are often known as genetic heart conditions. These are often caused by a faulty gene, meaning there's a 50-50 chance the gene and condition can be passed on to your children. ICCs are especially dangerous because they don't always show symptoms, and it was an undetected heart disease that killed Brian Pillman, aged 35, the day of WWE's Bad Blood 1997 pay-per-view, the same condition that killed Pillman's father. MVP also has an ICC, as he was diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome in 2007 after a routine WWE wellness test. Not long after news broke of the game's condition, an outpouring of support came in from fans and wrestlers alike, with Mustafa Ali sharing a heartwarming moment he had with the WWE COO. "When I was on 205 Live, I had to relocate to Orlando. My wife, who was pregnant at the time, stayed in Chicago. About a month before the due date, I asked Hunter if I could visit home for a week. Hunter told me, 'Don't visit, move back home, be a father.' Hunter's a good man." Mustafa's story is one of many showing Triple H's kindness, alongside tweets of hope that he makes a full recovery. Mick Foley tweeted that he's wishing for a full and speedy recovery, while Santos Escobar called the game stronger than ever. Dana Brooke said she was sending Triple H her thoughts and prayers, and it's worth noting that a cardiac event isn't the same as a heart attack, and the good news is that he was successfully treated. Unless Triple H decides to give an update on his condition, speculation at this stage is pointless, but this health crisis comes at a very poor time for the game. Next week, NXT will receive a total rebrand under the rule of Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, and with Triple H now recovering, their role will be more difficult for the multicolored brand. Recent reports have suggested that McMahon won't be handling the day-to-day runnings of NXT, which would have left Triple H with a modicum of power, but with him out, things will be tougher for everyone in NXT. The most important thing now, though, is the game's condition, and we'd like to wish Triple H a full recovery after this recent health scare. And we're ending today with Raw, which saw a tag team turmoil match stop halfway and then compete in the main event. This was a new way to present the match, but PW Insider reports that this wasn't the initial plan. According to their sources, the idea originally was for the entire match to headline the show, but the decision was later made to cut the match into two pieces. It was also noted that this was a decision made before Raw went live, and it wasn't an audible called during the show. Splitting up this match was an interesting choice, and after the dust was cleared, it was WWE Champion Bobby Lashley and MVP who stood tall, earning a Raw Tag Team title match next week against RK Bro. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.